Hey gang, Eric Shanefield here with Nearview Media. Really glad you could join me for today's high value publishing session. It's been a couple of weeks. Had some family vacations to wrap up the summer, but back kind of in full swing mode. Kids are going back to school and kind of doubling down on the work that we're doing here at Nearview Media. Very excited about today's session. Today I want to talk to you about co-branded social media advertising. The reason I'm excited about this is that most publishing brands out there, B2B or consumer, can implement this strategy and generate six-digit revenue pretty easily within your first year of doing it here, even if you're selling other things. So I'm really excited about this. It's not very difficult to implement, but I'm going to dive on in here and show you how we can do co-branded social media advertising. Before we kick off, though, as always, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. This session is indeed being recorded and will be released at nearviewmedia.com this Thursday. Every session we do is available out there. Just go out to the site. You can see all of our past sessions. Any links we talk about here will be available when the recording's posted. Not too many links today, but a few of them. These sessions are also available as a podcast. So if you can't join us live and you don't want to wait for it to show up on our website, you can always join us on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcasting platform is. You can find it out there. If you have any questions during this session, you can feel free to post them to the chat here live on Zoom, or you can go to nearviewmedia.com and there's a link right there that you can submit questions to us. I've already had a couple of questions about this event submitted to us in advance, and we will make sure to get to those. Just want to say thank you again always to our friends over at What's New in Publishing and to Niche Media, Niche Conferences. They both republish these sessions to their audiences. What's New in Publishing, great publication. You should subscribe to it. And of course, Niche is one of the best media conferences out there. Always one of my perennial favorites. Well, let's dive in. Let's talk about co-branded social advertising. And what does that mean? So we probably all run ads on social media, LinkedIn, or in the B2B world, Facebook, Instagram. And we've either boosted posts or we run our own ads on there. Sometimes we'll also just, as an agency, kind of do ads for our advertisers, or we'll work through a third party who does this for us. But co-branded social is a little different. I want to tell you what it is. In co-branded social, basically your advertiser can put out an ad through your social media profile to your audience, whether it's on the Meta platform, Facebook, Instagram, or whether it's on LinkedIn. You can even do this on Twitter, although I'm not going to show you any examples here today of Twitter, but you can do this on Twitter as well. This is what's really cool about this. So this is the subtle difference of like old Number 77 Hotel advertising through the New Orleans Magazine brand to the New Orleans Magazine audience. Very, very powerful combination. And this is not coming out through the social media feed, right? This is a pure ad done through the Meta Facebook, Instagram ad system, or through LinkedIn ads. So it's not coming out as a post to your feed per se. It's coming out through the ads system. So let's talk a little bit about what this looks like, how it works, and how you might be able to implement it on your particular publication. So unique selling proposition, USP. I always like to ask myself about this with anything I sell on the digital side or frankly on the print side with this. So again, the ad comes out from your brand and it goes out to your audience. This means that the ad is better received by the audience. In other words, the fact that old Number 77 Hotel is coming out through New Orleans Magazine to the New Orleans Magazine audience, it lowers a barrier of entry, right? It establishes a level of trust, not necessarily an endorsement, but it's a level of trust. Just like an ad in your magazine, the fact that there's an ad in your magazine adds a level of trust to that advertiser. That advertiser, you trusted them enough to let them place an ad in your magazine. Same thing applies here. So it's better received by the right audience. And this is what's unique about it. No advertiser or agency can do this. Only you can put an ad out through your brand to your audience. The other thing that a lot of my publishers who launch this do is we get very good about tuning the ad placements and the creative. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a little bit. But while other advertisers and agencies can do this, you'd be amazed how many don't. How many advertisers, if they're doing direct on Facebook or Instagram or direct on LinkedIn, or agencies even, don't tune the placements and creative to get the best responses for their advertisers. So this is a unique thing that you can bring to market that they can't do themselves with this. And it's a great way also to go after any ad dollars that your advertisers may be diverting from quote unquote traditional media to social media. You can say, hey, look, we can help you on the social media side, but we can do this for you. We can put your ad out through our brand to our audience, and we can tune the placements and creative to really make them work for you, which most agencies won't do for you. So that's kind of the unique selling proposition. Let's talk about building the audience for these social media campaigns. So whenever we're going to build the audience for the social media campaigns, there's 3 different levels that we can go to. I always like to start with remarketing. Remarketing is where we're going to actually advertise out to your audience. And the way we do that is there's 3 basic types of remarketing audiences. One is your email list. We'll take your email list, we'll upload it into Facebook, we'll upload it into LinkedIn. They hash those emails so they can't do anything with them. There's no security issues, no privacy issues, but they'll then try to match your email list with people who have registered with that same email address on their platform. So for consumer audiences in Facebook and Instagram, whenever I upload an email list to Meta, for that, I'll see sometimes a 70, 80, even sometimes higher percentage match rate on that, which is really good. LinkedIn, better for B2B audiences. I can again see a 70 to 75% match rate over there. We can do B2B names in Facebook as well. I don't see anywhere near as good of a match rate on that. I'll typically see more like I'll run a 40% match rate on that. So again, we can upload our email lists into these platforms, they'll match. And so that's part of the audience that we market to when we build the ad. The second group that we market to are your social media followers. So in Meta, we can market to your Facebook followers. For Instagram, you can't really say followers. So you have to say the people who have engaged with your Instagram profile over the last X days. And LinkedIn, we can market to your social media followers on LinkedIn as well. So even if you don't have a large social media following, that's okay. That's only one piece of the audience we're going to remarket to. If you got a good email list, you can get a good email match. And then the third one we do is also your website visitors. So we'll install the Meta Pixel, Facebook and Instagram. We'll install the LinkedIn Insight tag on your site, and we'll begin to build up a remarketing audience that way. So when we go to advertise, we're advertising to your email subscribers, your social media followers, and your website visitors. And that's where we start with. Oftentimes, that's a big enough audience that we can launch this and we can go after this. Sometimes, however, it's just not quite a big enough audience and we need to supplement this a little bit. In that case, what we'll do is we'll take your email audience and we'll create a lookalike audience off of that, either in Facebook, Meta, or in LinkedIn. And this way we can find people who are demographically similar to your email subscribers, or even better, your magazine subscribers, your paid or your controlled circulation subscribers. We'll do a lookalike on those. And then, of course, we can put whatever geographic limitations we want on it. If you're a city and regional magazine or a regional business publication, we can target a specific DMA or cities or geographic regions. We could target just the US. We could target internationally. But we create the remarketing audience as our core. We'll supplement it with an email lookalike audience if we need more people. And then if we need even more people beyond that, which we rarely do, occasionally we'll come across this, we'll even add then a demographic target. Now, the demographic target, anybody can do, right? Any advertiser, any agency can target people demographically and geographically on Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. So we don't add this piece unless we absolutely have to give you a big enough audience. So we'll start with the remarketing. We'll add an email lookalike, or even better, a subscriber lookalike, and then we'll add a demographic if we have to to get a big enough audience. But usually we can do it with just the remarketing or with the remarketing plus the lookalike audience in your ad system. So we build these audiences in your Meta Ads account or in your LinkedIn Ads account. And then when we place the ads, we target that remarketing audience for your advertiser. Now, let's talk about tuning placements and creative. I'm not going to be able to go through the whole setup here, but one of the key things I do want to mention is as you do these ads, this is one of your unique selling propositions. If you're on the Meta ad system, Facebook, Instagram, you notice we're only targeting Facebook and Instagram itself. We do not target Messenger. And the reason we don't target Messenger is we don't need that much inventory, just to be blunt. And the responses we get on Messenger are abysmal. So I don't like to target Messenger. Think about it. If someone's chatting with someone else, they're usually not responsive to ads. Whereas if they're browsing through Facebook, browsing through Instagram, they're more responsive to ads, both from a branding perspective and a direct response perspective. The other one that we turn off always is the audience network. Now, what is the Meta audience network? And LinkedIn has an audience network as well. That is, in essence, third-party sites or apps that will display Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads. I usually do not like to use the audience networks for social media or for Google ads for that matter. The reason why I don't like to do it is usually it's much lower quality. There's a greater chance for click farms and fake sites and low quality apps to be monetizing using ads from Facebook or ads from LinkedIn. So I find that there's a higher level of abuse, there's a lower level of response using those networks, and we haven't needed that. There's plenty of inventory on Facebook, Instagram, or on LinkedIn to do this. So we typically don't target the audience networks, and on Meta, we don't target Messenger. This is something that most advertisers don't do. They just say, yeah, check everything. And Meta and LinkedIn are always going like, you should use our audience networks. You can get more reach for less cost. Yes. And oftentimes it's more junk and more abuse for less cost. So I usually don't do them. Second thing that we do then is we take the creative itself and we can tune it. Now, when we run these, we can run a single image ad. We can run a video ad. So if you have a little video clip for Facebook, Instagram, or for LinkedIn, we can run a little video clip and run it for them. We can even do what's called kind of a carousel ad, but there's multiples. I haven't found those to work very well. Either the single image or single video ads seem to work the best. Then what we do, and it's kind of hard to see here, it's not as bad in LinkedIn. In LinkedIn, there's not that many options. It's kind of one placement, and you see it on desktop, you see it on mobile. On Facebook and Instagram, however, it's much more sophisticated. There's a lot more placements you can do. Depending on the options you choose, there could be 12 to 15 different placements. And so we're very, very careful. We're very, very careful about how we tune the text, how we tune the call to action, how we do everything in there that to make sure that no matter which ad creative we're looking at, it shows up well, and it makes sense, and the copy makes sense. So we always tell the advertisers that, hey, submit your copy. We have specs for the description, specs for the call to action, all that. But we always say, hey, we reserve the right to tune the text and the headlines to best fit the ad placements on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And we'll tune those. This is another thing that a lot of some agencies will do, a lot won't. And a lot of advertisers won't do. And then we also get stories and reels on Facebook and Instagram. How you don't want to just use the default placement on those. You want to go in, you want to edit these, you want to choose the placements that look the best. You want to tune the text, tune the call to action to get the most response. And just this little bit of work and tuning just makes all the difference in the world, and is another thing that you can sell to your advertisers about why they should do it through you. Okay, let's go on here and let's talk about a little bit how to price this. I typically recommend to my publishers, sell it for a week at a time, 1 week at a shot, Monday through Sunday. Sometimes in the B2B space, they'll go for a couple of weeks. one publisher who's doing it, they're doing a month at a time, but I like to do it like a week at a time, it's a big blast at a particular time. Monday through Sunday especially works well for consumer publications. If you've got a restaurant or a special event happening over the weekends, you want Monday through Sunday to promote that. I like to say start with only one advertiser per week. Price it out that way initially. Why? We actually have enough inventory. You could sell multiple advertisers per week if you want, but start with one advertiser per week until you get that pretty much sold out. That way you control supply and demand, right? Because you go out there and say, hey, anybody can run as many times as they want. We can take as many advertisers as we want. There's no urgency in the sense of the advertiser. And there's more room for them to negotiate. Gosh, I'm just going to negotiate you down on price because you can run as many people as you want. Now, start with one advertiser per week. Once you sell that out, you can then go to 2 a week, right? And you can open up that way and control your inventory. By managing supply and demand, you can keep your pricing up. The way you set this up is you go into actual your Meta Ad Manager or your LinkedIn Ad Manager and actually create a sample campaign, right? You're going to create a sample campaign targeted to the remarketing audience that we talked about earlier. Geographically limited if you want to geographically limit it. And then typically I start with like $20 a day, $25 a day on the Meta platform, Facebook and Instagram, and $50 a day on the LinkedIn platform, because LinkedIn advertising is more expensive than Meta. Now, when you do this, when you put all these criteria in, you don't even have to put in a real ad. You can just put in a dummy ad in there if you want. But the idea is it will then give you a reach. It will say, based upon these criteria, this is the reach that you are probably going to wind up getting. And it varies widely, right? On Instagram, if I put in $20-25 a day, depending upon my, what market I'm in and the size of my audience, all that kind of stuff, I'll see sometimes, hey, you could reach anywhere from 1,000 to 7,000 advertisers, 1,000 to 7,000 people every single day. Well, that's a huge range. This is one of the things that's kind of my pet peeve when it comes to social media advertising. It's like you don't know what your reach is going to be because it's this competitive marketplace. Your same money may reach 2,000 people a day this week and may reach 5,000 people a day this next week. So I usually try to take a range, usually like it gives me some big ridiculous range, 1,000 to 7,000 people. I'll say, okay, it's probably going to be 3,000 to 5,000 people a day, right? That's what I'll say. And when I pitch it to my advertisers, I'm like, it's 1 week at a time. It's this flat rate. And for that flat rate, your ad will reach 3,000 to 5,000 people per day. Now, LinkedIn, it might be a little bit different. You've got to go in and work with your audience and your particular market to see what the reach would be on this. But, let's say 3,000 people per day, over a 7-day time frame, that's 21,000 people that your ad is going to reach for that price. So you add that, let's take the 25 times 7, that's like $175. Or let's say you do it up to 30, it's $210. And you're going to resell that for typically 3 times as much, right? You're going to resell that for $750 to $1,000 on that. On LinkedIn, I see co-branded social media going anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 per week on this. The idea is you're going to create a sample campaign with your criteria, your audience, and then you're going to see what your reach is, and that's how you're going to price it. You're going to come up with a rate base for that week to hit the reach range. I do see some questions coming through, and I will indeed answer those here in just a minute. I want to talk briefly about then, let's say you've run it, you've got the reporting. What's the reporting? On Facebook, there's a custom report that you can build. I love the custom report builder. It's really slick. For example, this is one I ran for a campaign. I broke it down by day, and you can see, they were actually, I think they said like 7,000 people a day. They were hitting 10 to 12,000 people a day. And you can see the number of reach, the number of impressions. I also like to report post engagement. It's a nice big number. It's not just clicks. It's clicks, it's likes, it's shares. It's all that post engagement that is on there. So it's a good number to share with advertisers. You'd have to disclose, hey, this is what it means. But this is the kind of report I like to do. And then you can take a screenshot of it, or you can export it to a PDF, or export it to an Excel spreadsheet, whatever you need to do. Don't obviously include cost or CPC or CPM or anything like that. You don't want to do that. This is your internal stuff. They know what they paid for this, and you're just reporting back to them on the reach. In this case here, whenever I do these campaigns, I forgot to say this, I always like to use the reach objective. Always use the reach objective, not clicks, not that you're using the reach objective. You want to reach as many people as possible within your target demographic. And you can see we reached almost 78,000 people. Now, is there a little bit of overlap between these? Yeah, there's probably some overlap on here, but it's 10, 12,000 people a day. For LinkedIn, a little fewer options. It's interesting that they'll talk about reach when you go to do your estimating for your campaign, but when they don't report reach. So you can show, again, in LinkedIn reports, you can switch the performance tab and you can see the impressions and you can see clicks. So I kind of like to give them a little bit of this information. Keep in mind, clicks are a rough thing to report because just like with other ads, advertisers usually suck at giving great creative that has a strong incentive and a great call to action. They're usually not good at that. They're usually good at branding, getting out a message and hoping people will click through because they're interested. They usually don't follow good direct marketing 101 on this. But it's nice to just report some information. Obviously, this is LinkedIn. This is a weekend date, and you can see the number of impressions are lower on a weekend. Interestingly, the number of clicks were just as high, so we had a better click-through rate. But this is what we can do. We take these two reports and we share them with the advertiser. Always, always, always share the results with the advertiser at the close of anything you do digitally, especially co-branded social, so they can close the loop and say, I spent X dollars and this is my results, right? So this is the results. You are not going to get as much reach. You're not going to get as many impressions for the same amount of money on LinkedIn as you are on Meta. Consumer, B2B. If you're hitting B2B, it's more expensive to reach those people than it is on Facebook. By the way, I do have B2B clients, publishers, who are doing not only LinkedIn, but they're also doing Facebook and Instagram. Yes, they're remarketing. They're remarketing to the website visitors and as many email matches as they have. And yes, they have social media following. So you can still do B2B on Facebook and Instagram. You can do both. Consumer pubs, you're primarily going to want to stick with Facebook and Instagram. Twitter can work for both as well, but it's usually Facebook and Instagram is going to give you the best bang for the buck. Some prerequisites. For Facebook and Instagram, you need a Meta Business Manager account, formerly Facebook Business Manager. You're going to need a Meta Business Manager account for your organization. You're going to want to set that up really well. You're going to want to do all the verifications and all that. In fact, we have a link. Let me see if I can grab that for you guys here real quick. We have a link on our website. Hang on one second here. I'll show you here. If you go to our website, go to our blog, Facebook Business Manager. So we did this a couple of weeks ago, and I'll put that into the chat for everybody here. We did this a couple of weeks ago. Great session if you don't have a Facebook Business Manager or Meta Business Manager account. Great session for you to check out while you can. But you want to get that set up. You need an ad account that's up, that's active, that's valid, has the credit card attached to it. You're going to want, obviously, Facebook and Instagram profiles for your publication. Hopefully, you've already got those. Hopefully, they're decent shape. They look pretty decent. You probably got some followers on it. Even if you don't have a ton of followers, just make them look relatively good. And then you can go from there. Again, this isn't really critical. You don't have to have a lot of these folks because we're going to actually go to a remarketing audience rather than to our followers. You definitely need the Meta Pixel, formerly the Facebook Pixel, installed on your site. So you're building that Facebook, that website remarketing audience. And you'll want to have an email custom audience in your ad account, right? You're going to want to take that out of your email system. You're going to put that into Facebook. Now, If you're on a system like HubSpot or ActiveCampaign, you can keep this synced automatically. If you're not, once a quarter, upload, download from your system, upload into Facebook in ad audience, and you can even replace your previous audience. So you don't need to keep this continuously synced. It's nice, but you can do it manually once a quarter. Just set a little reminder for yourself to update it once a month, once every other month, once a quarter, something like that. For LinkedIn, again, you're going to want a LinkedIn company page. You want it to look nice. You want it to look professional. You're going to need to create a LinkedIn ad account, which means you're going to have to add your credit card to that, get all that set up. You're going to want the LinkedIn Insight tag installed on your site. That's going to build your website remarketing audience. And then same thing, you're going to upload your email custom audience to your ad account to get an email match. And again, if you're using the right kinds of CRM systems, you can automate that, or you can just manually do it once a month, once every other month, once a quarter, whatever you need to. But you definitely want to have that up there. Those are kind of the prerequisites to getting this all set up. I want to answer some questions now. So I had some good questions here. I did have one question from, let's see, what was this question here? Let me get out of here real quick and take a quick look here. Yeah, Frank, known Frank for years. Love you, Frank. Hopefully this showed you kind of the reporting. You got that when you asked about that. Frank asked a great question. So since social media is often viewed to be the editorial voice of the brand on a platform, is there any concern about maintaining an ad edit ratio? If so, how do you set proper boundaries? Well, that's kind of the beauty of this program, is because you are actually setting this up as an ad and not as a post that's boosted, there's no conflict. There's no conflict. This is an ad. This is not coming out underneath your actual social media profile, your editorial feed. So yeah, that's the beauty of it. There's no worries about this ad edit boundary that may be coming out there. So that's what's so great about this particular piece. How is the best way to mark it as a paid post? You don't mark this as a paid post. What you do is you put this in as an ad, and you do it through the Meta Ad Manager or through the LinkedIn ad system. And when you do that, that will automatically come up here. So like, for instance, this is Facebook. Instagram looks really similar. This is New Orleans Magazine. And when they create the ad, they can say, is this a paid partnership? Yes, it is. Who's your partner? The old number 77 hotel. Okay, then that does this automatically. It shows paid partnership. It shows your profile with the old number 77 hotel, your advertiser. Some folks don't have a Facebook account. So in that case, you probably want to put it in the descriptive text with that. On LinkedIn, it's similar. You can do, this is LBM Journal, and it just says it's promoted, right? So, and we're linking to Huber Wood, or, you don't really need to do much more beyond this. This is how it's kind of shown that it's a promoted post or a paid partnership out there. Good. Thanks, Anne-Marie. And then I've got several questions out here. Orist asks this. By introducing advertising on social media, do publishers risk losing credibility and subscribers? Not at all. No, not at all. As a matter of fact, what this does here, first of all, your own media, your own website, your own email newsletter, absolutely, we want to be selling those. We want to be optimizing those. And this is the time of year to be looking at those programs and optimizing them, because you're putting together your media kits for 2023 and get ready to go out and sell this. This is the time to do that. But this is another product. And what's unique about this is, since it's coming out from your brand to your audience, it doesn't cut your credibility. It improves your credibility. It's still your audience. It's still your brand. No one else can do this but you. As a matter of fact, what this does, in my opinion, it shows that you're actually forward thinking. You're actually thinking about, hey, yeah, social media is important, and we've got the right product for you through our brand and to our audience to reach that. So no, I don't think that this at all makes you lose credibility or subscribers. Andrea says, if your Facebook reach is continuously low using paid ads, is the assumption your audience is wrong? So, Andrea, if your Facebook reach is continuously low, and you said your organic reach is consistently better when you pay for an ad. Yeah, probably you've got your audiences that you've got set up that you're putting your paid ads to probably isn't set up very well. And you can see the reach that you're going to get based upon the amount that you're going to spend on that. So yeah, we could take a look at that. And obviously I've got one client who, believe it or not, has 3.5 million Facebook followers. They get great organic reach, but they still do the paid program as well. So yeah, if it's continually low using paid ads, you're either not using the right audience or you're not spending the right amount of money on it, right? If you're don't expect to put $5 toward a paid ad and get anything out of it, right? You're going to have to do, like I said, probably $20 to $25 a day on Facebook, on Meta, $50 a day on LinkedIn. Ballpark, that could vary. So hopefully that helps answer those questions. Erica. Hi, Erica. Good to see you here. Do you recommend how often a client can run a co-branded ad? Once a quarter? I don't care how often they run. They can run as much as they want. But I usually try to start out with saying one advertiser a week. So again, I'm kind of creating a sense of urgency in the advertisers of, oh my goodness, I better book this out now while I can, and I can get the spots that I want. So I recommend starting with that once a week per advertiser. Hey, if someone wants to book this out and want to book it out 3 months in a row, God bless them, go for it. Take the money, go for it. It'd be like saying, should I limit how many times an advertiser can run the back cover ad? Heck no, they want to pay the money. They want the back cover ad. I'm going to book them for all 12 months. So yeah, book them as much as you want, in my opinion on that. Is there a CPM you try to reach with the pricing? No, this is not done on a CPM basis. It's not done on a cost per impression basis. When you go to set up these ads in Facebook, Meta, or in LinkedIn, you're going to put in your audience. You're going to put in whatever you want to spend. Again, $20 to $25 a day on Facebook, $50 a day or so on LinkedIn. And you're going to see what is the reach that Facebook or LinkedIn says you're going to approximate get. That's basically the package I put together. Then I go out with a sales sheet that says, all right, it's $1,500 for the week. You're going to reach this many people per day over the week, ballpark, right? That's how I'm going to pitch it. That's how I'm going to position it. So this is not a CPM pricing at all. It's flat price for a week to reach X number of people, a range. Okay, Jane, what is the minimum time frame you should run the ad? I know you said a week, but can you do less and be effective? No, I don't think you can. I think actually a week, honestly, all these systems need time to kind of learn, and even a week is kind of short, but a week seems to be a good range. I wouldn't do this for like 1 or 2 days. I would try to do probably a week minimum to hit a certain range. And again, I come up with a package. This isn't just flexible. Pick a date, pick an end date. We'll run for you. No, we're trying to package this. It's a flat price for this week run to reach this range of people, 2,000 to 4,000 people every single day. That's the way you pitch. If you do it other than that, you're probably making it more complicated for yourself. Okay, Kristen, we heavily rely on remarketing to people who visit our site in the past 90 days. Does the pixel ever need to be refreshed, or is it a setup one situation? It's a setup one situation. You put the pixel on your site, LinkedIn, Facebook, the Meta, Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter, whatever you want to do, and it will keep that audience updated. 90 days is the maximum I ever recommend. I usually like to actually go more toward a 30 or 60 day because it's usually more fresh in people's minds. They're usually more familiar with the brand, but if you're doing 90 days, it's not necessarily bad. But again, we're going to do the visitor, the email audience, and the social media followers, combining those three together to build your remarketing audiences. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Well, guys, that's all the questions we got right now. I hope you found this helpful. I really do think that any publisher can launch co-branded social media advertising, regional, national, B2B, consumer, you can launch this program, and it's a great way to go back after those dollars that advertisers are saying, I'm not going to advertise with traditional media. I'm going to advertise with social media. Well, hey, you still want to hit the right audience. You want to hit the right demographic. You want to lower the barrier to entry by going through our brand to our audience. And we're going to tune your placements and your creative to get you the best results possible. That's something that is pretty compelling. I've had several publishers who have launched something like this, and within the first year, they've made $250,000. Hope this helped, gang, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll hopefully catch you here 2 weeks from now. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.